I'm gonna make a quick winter driving tip video. This one's geared towards Audi. First off, even though it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, don't ever underestimate proper tires. I've got a winter wheel tire package on here, and some people swap tires back and forth and just have one set of rims, but I really suggest getting a wheel tire package for the summer and a wheel tire package for the winter, because winter tires are a little bit more narrow, and it's nice to just get the perfect offset and width for either one. You want a little bit wider in the summer. So on this Audi, you see the wipers right here. They're in service position. So you have to get in there in the MMI and go into the car button and then the wiper and then put them in service position. And you see a lot of people go like this, and whenever it snows and stuff, they have their wipers up. I don't ever recommend doing that, because these springs inside here, you'll wear them out, and those springs are actually what holds the proper tension on this arm to your windshield. So if you keep on putting these up to try to keep the ice and snow clear off of them, they're eventually going to be weak, and they won't have enough pressure to really clear the windshield properly, and then you'll have you know what I'm talking about. So the next thing is, whenever you're only going to be able to have the wipers in service position if the vehicle's at rest, but that's where you want them. If you park it, put them in service position before you leave, and then also, if you're like at a stoplight or something, you can keep them in there, and that'll help. Ultimately, you're going to have to bang them out like this to really get the ice and stuff off, but whatever kind of ice that you can get off of the wipers, the heat will transfer if they're in service position a lot better than it's going to transfer if it's down here. So now let's go inside and take a look. But before that, one more thing about the wheel tire package. Whenever it's snowing like this, I drop the tire pressure down to about 30 psi all the way around, and that gives me a little bit more grip. If you want to leave your car at rest whenever it's snowing, one thing you can do is you can put a tarp over the windshield. Me personally, you could do it however you wanted, but I would probably put the tarp underneath the windshield wipers in service position, and I really don't think that it's going to collect specific ice on the wipers. I think you could pull the tarp off, and then you could just tap the wipers out, and then you'd be good to go, and no ice would be sticking to the actual windshield itself if you wanted to park your vehicle. But we're going to start it up, and I'll show you this button right down here. This one's on a Q5. Right here we have stability control off, and either way, stability control on or off, they both feel pretty good, but I typically like to drive it with it off in the snow. It gives me just a little bit more wheel spin, but it still is activated in the background, and it will still fuel cut. So this is the other one. This little button right here is the hill descent, and it's supposed to be an extra sensitive program that is gonna kind of slow you down with the transmission and with the ABS system, with activating your brakes for you. So I tried it today, and I haven't really paid too much attention to it. It seemed like it was hanging up a little bit too much for my liking downhill, but in severe situations, that might be a pretty good thing to activate if you got a Q5. I think other Audis have it too. I'm sure I haven't really paid too much attention, like I was saying. What else? If you'll notice, I've got some blue right here because the snow and the ice have clogged up my jets for my windshield. And you want to always remember to have winter. I don't ever recommend putting summer formula. If you live in an area that can get below freezing, I don't ever recommend putting summer formula washer fluid in the reservoir, because if it stays in there over winter or whenever it freezes, it can swell your washer fluid bottle and crack it. So you always want to make sure that you have good antifreeze in the engine that can withstand temperatures of whatever it's going to get to, and the same goes with your washer fluid bottle, and you want to make sure it's topped off for situations like this, and you want to make sure that your nozzles are clean. See that? Completely obstructed before you get on the road, because in certain situations, as it gets worse and worse, that can make or break your visibility. See that? These Audis have heated outside mirrors. Isn't that nice? You can tell that it's been working. This ice is melted all the way around it, and it's perfectly clear. Might want to periodically clean your lights, because if they're that covered, then whenever it gets dark, if it's close to dusk, then you can get rear-ended pretty easily with your lights completely obstructed. And you also have a rear fog light button in here. So right here, we're going to turn our lights to auto. If you don't have auto, you're going to keep your lights on whenever it's snowing during the daylight, of course, and at night. And then these two buttons right here are your front and rear fog lights. So let's take a look at those. So I got my front fog lights down there at the bottom. I got my light bars that I installed. Here, I'll do this for you. Oh, bam! Now you see, my lights are on, but those fog lights are actually the most visible thing right now. I would have to clear these tail lights for you to even really see them, and it's nothing but thick ice. So those fog lights actually made a big difference in this case, the rear fog lights, keep in mind. If I turn that button off, those go off. I shouldn't have to say this, but don't go messing with your sunroof, trying to open it, tilt it, pull it back, nothing with the ice on there. You don't want to be messing with your sunroof, okay?